What's going on, guys? Madpatt here today to talk to you about my 85 635 CSI over here to my right. I want to talk to you about, was it worth restoring? Was it worth going through the headache? And all in all, was it really just worth doing? I mean, this applies in general. I mean, if you have a 635 CSI, that's great. But this video can also apply to a lot of other people who are contemplating on getting into restoring a car in general, or just want to get their car running. I mean, is it worth going through the headache of getting your car restored? Now, the short answer for me is, for this car, it was worth it for me. Definitely because I did most of the work myself. This has been my dream car ever since I was at least 12 or 13 years old. And it's, all in all, it was worth it for me. Now, is it worth it for you? That's the question you can ask yourself. But hopefully this video will help you. Now with this car, short answer, it cost me about $20,000 to get it restored. I did most of the work myself, which helped me out a lot. And I sourced all the parts myself. Everything was pretty much organized on my own. Now, a big help that really got me to do it as cheaply as possible was that my father actually helped me out quite a bit. Now, my father has been in the auto body business for about 30 years. Ton of experience, so that's what got the car to the spec that it deserves. It deserves to look super good, deserves a correct paint job, deserves to have the body arrow straight. So those are all things that this car has very close to that mark. I'm not saying it's perfect. No restored car will ever be perfect, nor will a factory car ever be perfect. So that being said, it's actually a really nice car. And throughout the whole process and everything, for the 635 CSI in particular, I spent about close to $1,500 just in the paint itself. The base coat I used was PPG. It was red, Calypso red in particular. So if you're looking to paint your car, red is the most expensive color. So PPG is one of the top brands. A lot of manufacturers use PPG, so it's very good stuff. And I went with Sherwin-Williams opposed to a Sikkens clear, which Sikkens is pretty much top of the line stuff. Sherwin-Williams is very close, so pretty much number two in that aspect. So I did spend quite a bit, and I also went with 2K primer and block sanded the entire car by myself to get it extra straight. So I mean, if you would have done it by hand, it would have given the car a little bit more wavy look in the body. So if you block sand it, it definitely makes it look a lot better. So with those precautions taken and with the final result, I definitely recommend you to spend it, considering the level of how you want your car to look when it's restored. So, you know, if you're kind of looking for like an economy paint job, don't go and spend so much money on paint. But if you want your car to look really good, spend a little bit more money on paint, go the extra mile. You're already there, you might as well spend the money and a little bit more extra time, and it's a lot more worth it that way. So that's what I did here, and just getting everything together. Like you know, the car didn't really need much filler, didn't really need much rust work. There was a few little rust spots, which for this car is actually really good because these rust out terribly. I mean, if you go back a few videos of mine, I'll actually put a link at the end of the video for my my stock and my modified 635 CSI comparison, and the stock one has rust on it, so you can kind of see what some of the extremes are with these 635s. So rust wasn't really that big of an issue. There was some repair work to do, but all in all, it wasn't actually that bad. Parts did set me back quite a bit because the car did need a lot of trim, like these chromes and stuff like that, but pretty much everything else was already there. Now, if I'll go back through the process, the car started its life as a 85 635 CSI, not an M6. It does have the M30 engine in it. When I received this car, I bought it from Connecticut. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The person that I bought it from had bought it from Connecticut, and the original owner had put it up for sale on an auction as a donation, which the car didn't run. Pretty much everything about it was inoperable. So then I bought it from that gentleman who bought it in Connecticut, brought it here to Chicago, and it's been sitting there for about 2 years, just in his garage with a bunch of stuff laying on top of it. So that's when I got a hold of it, and basically since that moment, the car had been sitting, not driving. I have an emission sticker somewhere, I think like early 90s, I want to say, maybe 91 or something, that the car basically hasn't been running and driving for about 20 years. So I guess that's how it wound up as a donation on an auction, and that's how basically it came to me. So Carfax shows I'm basically the second owner, and there was no activity for almost 30 years on Carfax, so it actually shows that I'm the original owner, because nothing was reported, nothing has ever happened with the car. So that's when I got a hold of it. When I was 15 years old, I bought a 1983 635 CSI, also a Euro model. And that car, the way it was going in the restoration process wasn't exactly the way I was intending it to go. It kind of took a weird path. I started like molding bumpers and stuff like that, and to a certain crowd of people it would be cool, but not really. It wasn't really striking me the way I would have wanted it to. I definitely wanted to keep the original bumpers, wanted it to look era correct, with the exception of like the bigger wheels and the air suspension. So with how everything has gone with this car in particular, it does ride on air, and that was about another $5,000 cost for me. You know, it wouldn't cost as much if I would have just stayed with the regular suspension. So my father actually convinced me to do that, to just make it a bigger wow factor for the car. And at first I was really, not wanting to do it, and my father really convinced me, and it really helped push the car forward in terms of making it more stand out. So I took it to Southeast Shark Fest 2016, which was last year, and big thank you to everybody at Southeast Shark Fest. Great crowd of people. If you don't know what Southeast Shark Fest is, and you do have a 635 CSI, M6, E24, E9, or E10, any really cool shark nose old BMW, take it down there. Super great group of people. My car actually won the People's Choice that year, and super grateful for everybody down there for admiring this car, because I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I really do appreciate the admiration of people in general towards this car, because there has been a lot of my own and my father's work that went into it to make it what it is today. And long story short, for me it was worth it to go through the headache of this car. I did have to sacrifice my 83 635 CSI. I did have to put the engine and transmission in this car and swap over a lot of parts from it to make one good car instead of having two bad cars. So in that aspect, it actually worked out, but there was a lot of money loaded in this car. And for some people, financially, that's not a good choice. Financially, for me, it wasn't exactly the greatest idea to load that much money. But I did, and if I would go back, I would do it again. I would say that. And it's a lot of money to put in a car, but the looks on people's faces and the amount of conversations that this car starts is really something interesting. This car doesn't blend into other cars. Now, originally I wanted to paint it the original color, which was Diamond Schwartz gray, and I kind of wanted to leave it as close to matching numbers in the original as possible. But I kind of steered away from that just a little bit and went with the Calypso red, which actually worked out because it was the original color of my mom's car when I was little. So it's just kind of something to bring that memory back. And it's all in all, it's turned out to be a lot better than what I expected it to be, and people really do love the car. It's gotten a lot of positive feedback over the time it's been finished, and a lot of support over getting the project done, and whatever I've shared on the forums and on Facebook. A lot of supportive people, great group of people too, 635 people. So like Bimmer forums and Big Coop are really good forums for questions and stuff like that. But after everything's gotten fixed and after everything's gotten sorted on the car has actually been really good on being very reliable, which is unheard of for an older car. There's not many older cars that could actually be as reliable. So this is a good platform for being a reliable car. Same thing with the 5 Series. The M30s are generally known for racking up a lot of miles. But what really hurts them is that they sit around for a really long time, and there's a lot of the electrical gremlins really like to get at it. So as long as you drive it, if you drive a 635, anything with the M30, as long as you drive it and maintain it normally, they really become fine. I mean, this car's been pretty much done for the last year and a half after I did the Southeast Shark Fest. in 2016, and it's been really good ever since then. Now I had the blowout with the air suspension. If you go back to some of my other videos, you'll see that. And it was purely my fault because the rear wheels were actually rubbing on the back airbags. So I still kind of have that issue looming, which I really need to take care of. Now, I don't have it wearing on the bags anymore because I actually have the suspension set really high. So if you lower it, that's actually where the wheel gets really close contact with the airbag. So something I'm going to have to do in the future is I can't space the wheels out anymore in the rear because then I'm going to have really big issues with it making contact with my rear quarters. I'm going to have to look for new wheels. So stay tuned for that because there are going to be new wheels coming to the car. I can't keep these, unfortunately. As much as I really do like these wheels, they look great on the car. I can't do them because I don't want to be having to replace my bags because of them getting punctured all the time. So plus I drive it a lot. I put a lot of miles on the car and I don't want to have that being an issue. But if you have a 635 CSI or any car in general, I mean, really work it out. Number one, are you planning on reselling it? Number two, if it's for you. Those are two totally different aspects. Now, if you're going to be keeping the car, you kind of have a little bit more leeway with how much you want to spend. You can definitely restore a car on a budget, depending on whether you could do it yourself or not. And if it's on a budget and if it's a tight budget, it's not really going to look that great, depending on how you get it done and if you do the work yourself or not. So if you're going to be flipping a car, definitely you have to weigh out how much you're done with the car with the restoration and everything and how much it's actually worth. And the really difficult thing about flipping old cars is that it's a specialized market. It's not exactly like you have a 3 or 4 year old Toyota Camry and you know that that's what people pay for it, and they will pay for it because Toyota Camrys are worth the kind of money that people are asking. And it's a bit different than you have like a 635 CSI, or I guess the only exception to that would be like a old air-cooled 911. It's such a high demand for the car, and there are people that are willing to pay the kind of money for it. So with the 635, it's a bit different because there's more of a specialized market for it. It hasn't really gone that mainstream. So definitely you kind of have to weigh out a couple things. So the intent of these videos is more like to really get people exposed to cars such as this, because I don't feel that there's really that many people that are really interested in some of the old BMWs, and I feel like there should be, because BMWs, say like 90s and older, are kind of at their prime in a way. I mean, not to say that like the new cars aren't, but the M cars are certainly great. But 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s BMWs are, you know, styling was at their best. Truly great cruisers, amazing looking cars, very reliable, and a lot of people don't really appreciate them maybe the way that they should, or people don't really give them a second look like they deserve. So these videos are definitely to get people exposed to cars like this, and like my 911, for example, and it's just kind of to get people out there and not be afraid of European cars, because, you know, it's a myth that parts are expensive for them. They're not. They're actually very cheap. United States is big. There's a lot of people on forums, there's eBay. A lot of people produce parts for these cars, and they're very inexpensive, believe it or not. Probably just the same as buying parts for any other car. So not really that bad. So, you know, feel free to go a little bit out of your comfort zone and get something maybe you wouldn't expect to get. And I won't be a hypocrite. I'll try to do the same. I usually don't buy American cars, but if I find something that pops up at a good deal, I'll be sure to show you guys about it. So I hope this video helped you out if you're maybe on the verge of restoring an old car you have, or maybe you've been thinking something for a really long time. Father and son projects are really good to do. 635 CSI over here was between me and my father, which was great, and it was a really good bonding time. So we took it to Southeast Shark Fest together, and it was kind of one of those really big pride moments that, you know, you kind of created something with your own two hands, and you go over there and you show it off to everybody, and they all really loved it. And with it sitting low like this, you'd have people come up to it and kind of put their fingers in the wheel arches and kind of, you know, figure out like how does the car drive like that. Little did they know it's actually on air and it can go up and down, which I know is kind of sacrilegious to some people, and I would get negative feedback from time to time, which, you know, I don't care. I mean, there's going to be people that will dislike basically anything, but it's just something to be different. And I have another 635 CSI. I have that blue one, which I'm contemplating on restoring again. But I'll be honest with you, that car is going to have to be a car that will be resold. I can't have two 635 CSIs laying around. I mean, I'd like to if I had the money. Sure, I would. But that blue one will probably have to be to resell. So I'll definitely keep you guys up to date on going through the process of getting that blue car restored and seeing what it's like to essentially do it to resell. Now with this one, it's kind of two sides of the pendulum. So with this one was for me. It's not to resell, but with the blue one, it is to resell. So you guys will kind of see what exactly it's, is it worth reselling old cars or not? Which there are people that do, but is it worth it for you? That's really the big question. So thank you guys for watching my video. Leave a like, comment, let me know your feedback. If you guys have a car you're restoring or have an old 635 CSI, you have questions about parts, definitely let me know. But if you have any questions, drop a like and definitely give me a comment. I'm pretty good with responding to comments, so let me know if you have any questions. Next, I'm going to talk to you about my 911 over here. Is it worth doing whatever the heck I've done to it with all this crazy stuff? So I'll get to that on the next video, but I really appreciate you guys checking me out, and see you guys next time. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe and don't forget to drop a comment.
Here's a BMW starting.